Welcome to Screen Theme. This is your boy Carcino here, and let's get to it. Now, we all remember Freddy versus Jason, right? Freddy versus Jason. They settled the title by flipping a coin. Jason versus Freddy or Freddy versus Jason. It became a monster success movie that let the whole horror genre know which direction they can go in when they start seeing Chucky return with the Bride of Chucky, and people were interested in going to see these movies. If you just give the fans what they wanted to see. And surprisingly, the movie was good. That was the surprise. I thought it would be silly and stupid from the moment they made it, but the people who were involved actually cared about the characters, and it was Robert Englund's final portrayal of Freddy Krueger. What they had in mind, though, was a sequel with the new Freddy. But when that bombed, they wanted Robert Englund to come back, and they were offering a king's salary for the movie. Unfortunately, at this time, new people were coming in to the office. Companies were changing over, and you're going to have new direction towards this film. So they tried to pitch it themselves to get part 2 going. You know, getting the fans back built up, asking like, yo, let's continue the battle. Jason versus Freddy. Studios now are more focused on bigger films that they can make a lot of money off of, but something like this would generate, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars. Because people have a cult following. And you'll get a lot of repeat teens that want to check it out as well. Now, when it looked like this had momentum and was going to actually be done, was the year 2000 and, 2011 or 12? They were talking about the idea of doing it again. Then in 2014, I think they had another treatment for a script for Freddy versus Jason 2. Now, Robert Englund is getting older. Kane Hodder's getting older, but he can still play Jason. You know, Freddy, Robert Englund still can do it. But it has to make sense. And the treatment script that I got on what this movie was, oh my goodness. It was the best Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street story ever. Now, here is the script. The script doctor, the guy who they hired to touch up scripts, had a script on his desk. A treatment, rather, for Freddy vs. Jason 2. Now, Freddy vs. Jason 2 continues 10 years after the events that we saw in Freddy vs. Jason. There hasn't been any sighting of Freddy or Jason, and anything that of mention of that night was not spoken of because there was no survivors. Meaning that the deleted scene that was in the original script was basically the ending of the movie that they chose to go with the script, that the girl and that guy, nobody survived in the end. So when that happened, it was the 10-year anniversary. People were starting to remember the incidents of Jason, when Jason came and slaughtered all these people. So Freddy was once again forgotten about. No one remembered him until an out-of-towner who's obsessed with serial killers and mass murders show up on the scene, starts directly talking about all of these things that happened. Then he's saying, well, some of the bodies are not in the way or the form of Jason's work. This is more of a serial killer who went by the name of Freddy Krueger. Some said it was an urban legend, but I've been studying him. So he was bringing the name back around, which wakes Freddy back up. And in this film, you're going to see Jason get rewoken when they go out and they have a retreat near Crystal Lake, which Crystal Lake has been basically sealed off forever. Like, people cannot go past that area, and there's been no problems. But some kids decide to wander over and have kid affairs, which wakes Jason up once people touch the property. It's like the curse of Crystal Lake comes back. So the comes back. Jason ends up taking out the trespassers who come on the property. Now he's awake. Now he sees this 10-year reunion party happening off of the territory. Once again, he hears Freddy's voice. Freddy is talking to him and making a deal, saying, I know you don't like me and this and that, but we got trespassers out here that we need to punish. So I need you to start stirring things up. And Jason doesn't listen. He slices right through Freddy, and Freddy's like, okay, so this is how it's going to be. So Freddy disappears and doesn't talk to Jason. He appears as his mother again and tries that, and Jason just slices right through it again. It's like, okay, he's not falling for that now either. So Freddy, once he hears his name mentioned, you see his eye turn to the left in curiosity once he hears one person mention his name. Freddy goes and appears in front of the one person, that guy who loves the mass murderers. That guy's dreaming. Freddy sits down in a dream and it's like, oh, it's on a board. Like, what you're hearing is the truth. You need to go here and find and research. Dig, and you will find the truth. So he goes around digging. He ends up finding the glove of Freddy. So now Freddy has what he wants. He's got someone who can drum up his attention in the name. And then he's in the chat rooms of the internet. And he's talking, I found the glove of Freddy Krueger. Who's Freddy Krueger? Who's Freddy Krueger? So Freddy's name is being mentioned, which strengthens him. I'm not going to go over the whole script or the treatment of the script, but in this film, you also find out that Freddy Krueger and Jason were at the same camp when Jason drowned. Freddy had just left. This explains why they can't die. Crystal Lake has an old witch on Crystal Lake. She's a witch doctor, and she lives in an old ratchet shed that almost looks like the one Jason was staying in Friday the 13th Part 2. Now, this old witch doctor, as they go back in time and do the throwback cutaway scene back to when Jason was in camp. And when Jason was in camp, Jason was sick. And the mom was, Mrs. Voorhees was just incredibly crazy. And she was yelling and talking to the witch doctor lady in the town. You use your spells and you make sure my boy never gets sick. You're my special boy. You're never gonna die, Jason. The mom says that to Jason. And the doctor's gonna make sure of it. So the witch doctor, who didn't like the way Mrs. Voorhees was talking to her, actually put a spell and gave Jason something to drink. So Jason's out there playing, and there's this kid out there who's shooting spiked wooden things that he got out with his pocket knife. He's making sharp points on a piece of wood out of a stick, and he's trying to kill a squirrel. And he shows Jason. He's like, look at this. And Jason's not scared. He's like, oh, you're no fun. You don't even get scared. And they're, Frederick, stop scaring people and stop killing animals on a stick. He had a whole bunch of dead insects and all the things like a shish kebab on one stick. And he was giving them out as presents to the girls, just to see them scream. So he hung a dead, animal carcass outside of the girls' bathroom. So when they opened or came out the girls' restroom at the camp, the other girls would scream, and he would just laugh. And he was telling Jason, while they were kids, isn't this great? So eventually, he was kicked out of camp. Jason really didn't talk that much as a kid. He spoke, but very shy, very slow kid, which was perfect for Freddy to have a minion to just help carry around his stuff and do things. So they show where Freddy was kicked out of camp, and he went back to basically an orphanage. When they came and picked him up, a bunch of nuns came and picked him up and took him out. And that was the last Jason saw of Freddy. But before Freddy left, the witch doctor, he killed her cat and gave her the finger. So she put a curse on him when he was by the house, because he had wandered over there. So all of this happened within the script. So for his wandering, he had to pay. And she made him pay. She cursed him by fire. And he could never die. He's a tortured soul that can't die. But he can never be physical again. And if he does come physical, he goes right back and he will never die. Jason, born by water. The curse calls Jason that she put on Jason. The spirit end up making Jason drown and holding him underwater. But he could never die. He became part of the water, whatever. So the curse that the witch doctor put on them is the entity. It's like the same power energy, the entity that's controlling Jason and Freddy. So this evil entity that's inside of them, that's driving them. Freddy's has been amplified times 10 with his psychotic nature. Jason feels like he's doing it like he has a purpose. Like he's a protector of the land. So it was very interesting how they worked this angle in. Still, no mention of Jason's father in the treatment, which I think they missed out an opportunity on. But going back to having Freddy at the camp with Jason, But it's amazing to me that when Freddy went back to his memories, he didn't see that. So that would kind of mess that up in part 1. But I love that angle for part 2. That is a excellent setup. Who is this witch doctor? And it would explain the phenomenon of why Freddy is Freddy, why Jason is Jason. And who is this witch doctor? And they would have to go and find the witch doctor and see if they could reverse the spell to stop them completely, to end and get the force up out of them, and so that their souls could rest in peace. So that's what this mission becomes. But it's funny because in the treatment it was like, and busty girl, busty. So they're letting you know, they already know what they're looking for. A girl with big boobs, busty girl. Oh man, that is something else. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'll holler at you guys later. We'll talk about this in the live chat later on. I'm out.